is Polyphonic Press, the podcast where two music fans pick a classic album completely at random. Using the patented random album generator, they are given an album to review from a curated list of over 1,000 classic releases, spanning multiple genres. And now onto the show. Here are your hosts, Jeremy Boyd and John Van Dyke.
Hey, welcome to Polyphonic Press. I'm Jeremy Boyd.
I'm John Van Dyke.
And let's not waste any time. We've got the patented random album generator right in front of us here. So let's hit the button and see what album we're going to be listening to this week. And the album we're going to be listening to is Grant Lee Buffalo, Fuzzy.
I'm in the dark.
Maybe. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, this is what it says on Wikipedia, because there's nothing on AllMusic. It says Fuzzy is the debut studio album by American rock band Grant Lee Buffalo, released in 1993 by Slash Records. According to the band's website, Fuzzy would galvanize the sound of Grant Lee Buffalo, i.e. the acoustic feedback howl of overdriven 12-string guitars, melodic distorto bass, tribal drum bombast, the old churn of pump organs, and parlor pianos. REM's Michael Stipe praised Fuzzy as the best album of the year, hands down, and Noel Gallagher of English rock band Oasis revealed in 2022 that the title track was an influence on the band's 1995 hit, Some Might Say. Okay, so Grant Lee Buffalo they're a three-piece band. They're from Los Angeles. The genres are Americana, alternative country, and gothic country. So I'm thinking it's kind of along the same lines of like the Sadies kind of thing.
Okay, that might be cool.
So yeah, Fuzzy. Okay, so this was released on February 23rd, 1993. Genres are Americana, alternative country, gothic country. Released on Slash Records and produced by Paul Kimball, who is also their bass player. And there's 11 songs on the album. It was obviously released on CD, so there's no real side 1 or side 2, but we'll stop after 5 songs and then listen to the last 6. So if you're listening along, which we encourage you to do, I've linked the album in the description. On both Apple Music and Spotify, so you can listen to it on your preferred streaming platform. And so we'll stop halfway through. It starts off with a song called "The Shining Hour," and we'll listen to it until after the song "The Hook," and then stop halfway through. So without further ado, here is the first song on the album called "The Shining Hour." So here we go.
All right.
All right, and ending the first half of the album with The Hook. I'm kind of underwhelmed by this, to be honest. I'm not really feeling a whole. I'm something about it that I'm just not.
Well, there's elements of things going on in there but it's not really hooking me either. And I wonder if it's part of me is trying to get used to the way he sings. It's a little unusual. Like maybe a few more listens and I think I'd be on board maybe. But I'm still waiting for that one song to come and actually like really grab me.
Yeah, and out of the ones that we've heard so far, I think the last one we heard, The Hook, is the best. That one almost got me.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, it's like the way he's singing. It's almost like this is sort of more acoustic sort of music, and it's almost like if he were if the guitars were loud and it was like a loud rock band, his singing would really fit it well. But here it's almost like the style of his singing doesn't quite match the music.
Yeah, maybe.
And like the second song, Jupiter and Teardrop, I thought that went on a little too long because he just kept repeating that phrase.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, this is kind of dragging a little bit. Like this is, you're just saying the same phrase over. Like you could cut it down a little bit and it would probably be a lot better. Yeah, it's just not, it's just not, ironically, there's no hook, there's no, there's nothing grabbing me really,
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat. But I'm trying to give it its fair shake at the same time. And, I like some of the, there's an experimental edge to it that I kind of like. But again, it's missing that, like you said, it's missing the hook.
Yeah, it's just not, I don't know. There's something missing. There's something, I don't know. It's not because they're a 3-piece band, because there's lots of 3-piece bands that fill out the sound there, but there's just, I think that may be part of it. It's maybe the production is a little too sparse as well. Like but I don't know. There's just something, I can't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah, it's a little, it definitely sounds early 90s, which is not really anything in its, against it.
No. Production wise, it has that.
Yeah, it just does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. There's a definitely, it's sort of a reverb going on in there, but it's very sparse. And to have that reverb on it sounds like an empty room, sort of. And I don't know if that's necessarily intentional, because it seems to need something else.
Yeah, I don't know if they need I think honestly they need like a keyboard in like a piano or an organ or something like that to sort of fill out the sound. At least that's what I think. And but also like I the songwriting, like the choruses they don't, like the verses and the chorus, like it doesn't really go anywhere to the chorus. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the time, like a chorus should sort of lift a little bit or be a little different. And the chorus almost sounds like just like another verse.
Yeah, I know what you mean by that. Yeah, it's, I think that's ultimately it, is that the songs just need a little bit more work. Maybe. Yeah, it could be. They could probably definitely get away with the 3-piece sound. And I'm sure people would get used to his vocals, but the songs just need a little bit more something to punch you a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just not feeling it as much as I wanted to, Yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll get back into the album then, and we'll get back to the second half of the album. Hopefully, the second half is a little bit
something picks up,
and it starts with the song "Soft Wolf Thread." Oh, sorry, "Soft Wolf Tread." So here we go. Okay, and ending the album with "You Just Have to Be Crazy." There were a few better songs in the second half.
Yeah, I thought it picked up a bit during the Dixie Drugstore, and then America Snoring was pretty good. That's a pretty relevant song even today. And then it kind of, Grace did a sort of interesting thing. I thought it was going to be more of that, of a more interesting side of the song, but again, it's sort of dragged out a little bit. It clocks in at 6 minutes 15 seconds.
Yeah, I felt, to me, that song, it felt like it was building to something and it never quite got there.
It reminded me sort of like, what they were trying to do was sort of the same sort of thing as like Junkhouse would do, where they have that sort of like loose jam, like thrashy sort of jam sort of thing, but I think they do it better.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah, because like the way that song was structured, and maybe it's subverting expectations, but the sort of what I was expecting was the way that it was, like the way the drums were, like the drum pattern that the drummer was playing on the toms. I felt like that was building to something that would eventually sort of explode into like a steady beat, and it would be like a good like groove with the bass and the drums. Yeah. I thought it was building to that, and it didn't. And I was disappointed that it didn't.
Yes.
You know?
I felt the same way. Yeah, exactly. It just, I don't know. These guys, they got potential. I like the idea of having like sort of like a grunge outfit do like a folk country sort of thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think it's kind of cool. But there's just things missing from vast majority of their content.
Yeah. And
if yeah.
And I do feel like if I could say something positive is I feel like the slower songs are the stronger ones. Like the hook in the last one, You Just Have to Be Crazy. Those are really good songs and really good performances of those songs. The others, I feel like it feels like ideas of songs and not quite fully realized, like you were saying.
Yeah, that last song was actually a pretty good song. Wasn't bad at all. And it didn't drag out too much. But I guess maybe it was the placement of the song. The placement of the song sort of does an injustice to it, because it's at the very end of an album that kind of drags, and then it's such a slow song at the end of the album, and it's a better song, but it's you're wanting something a little bit more upbeat by this point.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like as a standalone song, it's good, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's and you know, like with Grace, I thought we were gonna get that, and it just, it's almost 6.5 minutes long, and it's just like a loose jam, like you were saying. Like and not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but it felt like it was going somewhere, and it felt like it's like building a house. You have the foundation, and then they put up a few walls, and then, okay, well that's it. The house is done. It's like that. It's like they're starting to get somewhere, and then they just sort of stop.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking of that song and to compare it to something that's actually quite different, but in a way is relevant. There's a half-hour jam by Tame Impala, and they just call it, I forget what it's called, but anyway, you Tame Impala fans out there, you know which one I'm talking about. It's just this long jam that kind of falls into at least 3 parts, and quite often in the middle of the jam, it sort of falls apart, but it's still way more engaging to listen to than I find like the jam on Grace was. But it was more purposeful, but it didn't feel that way. Whereas this other jam, which is basically just a jam, they're literally just turned on a tape recorder and played, sounds more visceral and interesting and lively.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's like that's a good example. There's like lots of examples like that, like Grateful Dead stuff.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess, that brings us to the question, like, would you listen to this album again?
Not as an album. I don't think so.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't either. To be honest, yeah, I probably wouldn't revisit it. I wanted to like it but
yeah, me too. But there's a couple of songs on it I might revisit.
Yeah,
to say there's a couple on there that I think are worth listening to again.
Yeah,
like that. America Snoring just seemed like a very Like that's a song that I think I'm surprised it was a song of that importance is buried on an album like this.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I agree. I mean, that's probably the one song that I would revisit. Yeah, probably that's the only one, honestly. But yeah, I guess we'll end the episode there. Thank you so much for listening if you made it this far. We want to hear from you, whether you agree or disagree with the album. You can let us know by going to the contact page at our website, polyphonicpress.com. And while you're there, you can check out old episodes and lots of cool stuff to check out there. And if you feel inclined, you want to help out the show, you can do that by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/polyphonicpress. All those links are in the description, so it's really easy to get to. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'm Jeremy Boyd.
And I'm John Van Dyke.
Take it easy.